All right. So let's assume you've tried using the internal Premiere Pro audio settings and they haven't given you what you wanted. You want to have more control over your editing. Maybe it's just a particular clip that you need to fix up, or maybe you want to mix your whole audio sound bed in Audition. There's a couple of ways to go through this. So say, for instance, you wanted to attend to a particular clip. Say, for example, knowing that there's very limited EQ availability for making the sound of your music mix well with the other elements, maybe what you want to do is just do some stuff with the music in Audition, bring it back in, and do everything else in this environment. So long as you've got the clips that you want selected, you can go over to the Edit menu, go to Edit in Audition. If you haven't got a clip selected, it will not give you the clip option. It will bring this to this other space. So the clip view is a lot less complicated and cluttered than the multi-track view, and we'll show you that afters. But for now, say for example, what I want to do is apply a parametric EQ or a graphic EQ. Let's go with the graphic one because it's very easy to see what I'm doing. So the human voice sits at around 2K. So I'm going to pull that out of the sound. I'm going to also make a nice little ditch around it so that we can get a sense of things not necessarily needing to be in that area. And if I just play this music, it's still pretty loud, so I'm also going to pull the gain down on this a bit. And that'll do for me. Now, the other thing is you do also have settings here. So if you wanted to do something here, you can see that its own vocal cut is not as deep as the one that I notched out. So I'm just gonna go back and do that again because I like it the way I like it. But if you want to use a preset, you can, but I tend to just make this go the way I want it to go because that's the way I am. And that's not too bad. I think that's pretty reasonable. And I'm happy with that. So say for instance that's all I want to do, that's fine. And I'm done and I'm happy and I want to apply that. Once I've applied that, that's now part of this file, and you can see it's totally changed the qualities of the file. But what's important to note is that this is a different file to the one that we have started with. So if we look at where this file lives, you can see that it's sitting next to the, it's just sitting there with the other one. But if we go back, say for instance, into Premiere Pro, this file here has a different name, right? This is not the thing. We've got the extracted WAV, which is this, but you have to replace it in the edit. So this is if you wanted to edit the entire sequence in Audition. If you do that, give it a name that makes sense to you, right? And you want to make sure that you've chosen a folder that you want it to go to. You're sending the video as a dynamic link, which means you're not rendering video out. And with the audio clip and track effects, I'm going to remove all. And that's helpful because, so say for instance, you were in Premiere Pro and you had tried to use their automatic duck tools and it didn't really work. If you didn't get the ducking working and you don't want those handles and little points to remain on those audio files, get rid of them, remove all the things, and then it should, you can get rid of that. And then you're ready to go. The important thing also to note is that whatever bin you have open is probably the bin that the media is going to wind up in, and whatever track you have open and active, when it comes back, it's going to want to come back to that track. So it doesn't really give you many options when you're going back and forth. So it's best to just only have that track open. And once it's ready, it will just open it up and show you what it is. And here you can see that we have these files, that we have a sort of virtual mixdown of the video, which we can see in the corner here. It's handy to have this chase file because it lets us see the sync. If you, say for instance, wanted to work on dialogue only and you didn't want to listen to this music right now, you can mute it. As well as, say for instance, you only wanted to listen to a certain track, you can put it on solo, which immediately turns these other tracks gray because they're unavailable. If you want to sort of zoom in, there's a lot of tools here. They each, if you hover over them, have a shortcut. So, you know, you can do whatever makes you happy. I'm gonna grab this file here because I'm very aware of the fact that this here is gonna need some work. So I'm just going to zoom in on this, and I'm gonna have a look here. That there does not need to be. So what I can do here is just bring this in and put a very small fade in on that.
But he'll find a new job.
Right? So once I sort of go through and say get rid of all the little things that need getting rid of, like little breaths and stuff, there's a little something here too, actually. I'm just going to put this on solo and check this out, because this... Ooh.
And when he...
Yeah, that's not cool. Let's get rid of that. So, yeah, you've got a chance here to just make things a little more tidy.
And when he does, you're more than welcome to come back.
Now, there's a kind of textural...
And when he does, you're more than welcome to come back.
Sort of fuzzy room tone going on there. You know, you don't have to care about that. But once say for instance you've gone through this, if you think you need to do anything else, you can always use these effects racks for individual clip effects, right? Or for the track. Anything that you do to the track goes on every single clip on the track. But for the clip, say for example, if I select this clip and I use clip effects, I have the capacity to either individually decide that I want to add something, whatever that might be.
More than welcome to come back.
But all my friends are...
Right, I can do whatever I like if I want to do that. But the other thing I can do, say, instead of adding individual, and I can trash them as well. Oops, excuse me, not custom. Remove effect. I could also use one of these presets. So, for example, if for some reason I wanted that one clip to be, I don't know, something weird.
You might not believe me, but the public nursing home...
So, I don't know, that doesn't necessarily make sense here. I'm just trying to use something really obvious so that you can see that you can make use of these presets on individual clips to do things if you need to. So you can have an entire checkerboarded set of audio here, and if something is supposed to have a unique profile, you can do it either by individually adding in the effects you want, or by using these presets, which are some of them are just I'm not sure why, but you've got a karaoke machine. I don't know what that does.
Look, you might not believe me.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, not a big fan. So if I don't like something, I can edit it, I can remove it, right? So the thing is, you can also, say you didn't want to remove it, say you just wanted to turn it off so you didn't have to think about it, you can just turn it off. So when I turn this off...
You might not believe me.
And if I turn it back on...
Look, you might not believe me.
It's not a big difference. If I'm not really sure what I'm looking at, I can edit it and see. Yeah, whatever, fine. It's a minimal, it's a light touch. Don't really care about that. So you can do this with individual clips, or say, for instance, everything on this track is this one actor talking, or it's the both of the actors across 2 tracks, and you know that you want to apply the same effect to both. You can just set that up and do it. And when it comes to track effects, you can either apply them here using the presets, or you can go to the mixer and actually apply them here, right? So you can go either way. If, say, for instance, I use this mixer and I apply, excuse me, something here, whatever it is, whatever, it doesn't matter. Sure, whatever. Say that's what I wanted to do for reasons that are absolutely, beyond me even. You'll notice that it shows up on the track immediately. So when I go back to this track, noting that this was the mixer for track 1, if I want to check that out and what it did.
But the public nursing home, it's not that bad.
So, it's there, it's doing some stuff, and, that's something for you to enjoy. If you want to turn the whole thing off, turn off all the effects rack, you can. So, the thing here is you can still, of course, go through and edit stuff. Like that little breath.
How long?
I don't want that breath. I don't need that breath. Nobody needs it. Doesn't need to be there. You can just make that go away. I think that one of the best things to do is to consider whether or not you need that sound. If you are coming in and deleting sound and leaving spaces, you'll need to grab that room tone and put it back in. So bear that in mind, because if you are going to do anything in here that means you have gaps in room tone, you need to put the room tone back. So you can come through here and have a go, but I'd say that the one thing that people are probably going to be more likely to want to do is, say, for instance, with music, if you've got music, whether it's on 1 track or 2, whether it's 1 track of music or several tracks of music, is to deal with the EQ. And remembering, as I mentioned before, that the human voice sits at around 2K, so we want to really pull that out. And stuff around it can also kind of go on holidays. And I will also reduce the gain because that's very loud. And
I don't believe you. How long do I have to come up with the money?
2 weeks.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. So you may also find that you want to bring the volume down as well.
How long do I have to come up with the money?
2 weeks.
Ugh. So this is where it's like, okay, maybe it's not good enough, maybe it's not strong enough, maybe it needs to be more powerful, maybe it needs to be
How long do I have to come up with the money?
and we have another breath here, I can see it. Check that out. That one. So, and this is the thing, this is why you have Atmos, because once you get rid of these things, you can add Atmos back in. If you really want to, you should be able to also come in here and deal with these little bits and pieces individually. So if I come in here and I want to just make something go away inside that file, I can edit the source file if I need to, but I don't like doing that. It doesn't really bring me any joy. So say, for instance, I want something else going on in there. It does allow me to do a bit of that. I mean, I just sort of made it go away. That's not a problem. It's just a little weird. Because you can hear the difference in the tone, which is kind of bananas, right? So if I don't like it, if I copy the tone and paste it, you see how it pushes it along? So it doesn't really, let me just do it that way. So if I can actually cover that up with more tone.
How long do I have to come up with the money?
The thing that's really important when you are making these sorts of changes to files is that you can actually alter the length of the clip, and in doing so, you can make problems for your sync. So when we come back here, I want to really pay attention because we can see right now, it's giving me warnings here. I'm just going to dismiss them for fun, but let's have a look at what happens.
How long do I have to come up with the money?
Yeah, it's not too bad. But yeah, be wary of actually editing the clips because it's safer, say for example, to not edit the clip and just go and get rid of that bit and replace this with the file that you have in the folder for the job for natural sound, which is the Atmos or room tone clip. You'll notice that that sits here, and it's got several channels, which is lovely. If you need to have room tone in your job, one of the things you can do is set up a separate track. Just lay it down somewhere so that once you're in this other environment, you've got it. You can copy and paste it all over the place wherever you need to on that separate room tone track. That can be super helpful if you're just trying to plan ahead for this kind of work. But unless your project is particularly difficult to deal with in terms of maybe how you've recorded voiceover or the music you're choosing, you're probably more likely than not either only going to use Premiere Pro for audio, or maybe you might want to just bring the music clip over as a clip, make some changes to it that let you hear it better against the other elements of your track, and just bring it back. I don't expect anyone to have to be in here faffing around with all of their bits and pieces, but somebody might want to, and there's no reason not to. So when you are done with a multi-track, and you want to export that to Premiere Pro, say for instance we think this is the bee's knees and we're totally happy with it. Gracious heavens knows that may not be the case. It'll come up with a file name that's kind of, once again, it's just a little bit too many symbols and thingos and whatever. Give it a name that makes sense to you. Put it somewhere that you think is going to be easy for you to find. And make sure that you understand whether the sample rate matches your project sample rate. So, because you have the chance to change that here if you need to. It says export each track to stem. It's just basically going to mix down 3 tracks and that's going to bounce them. So we're not actually, say for instance, yeah, sure, fine. And so I come in here and it's basically saying, okay, I'm going to copy this to my active sequence and I'm going to tell it new tracks and it's going to dump them somewhere down here. So the fun thing is that, and this is helpful, let me just make room for this somewhere in the scheme of things. What's helpful about this, gracious heavens, come on, is that because these are all here, what you can do is just mute these other tracks that you've got here. And then if you really want to make sure that you don't accidentally bump them or do anything weird to them, you can just lock them. Because now you have the mixed audio down below, which replaces it.
Okay, I'm really sorry your son lost his job, but I truly am.
So in this sense, you now have a project where you have both the mastered audio and the pre-mastered audio on the same project timeline. For an online, a lot of people would sort of transition to a track that only has the mixed audio and the necessary vision, but I don't think you need to be bothering with that. This is probably enough to make sure that you can go backwards if you notice anything is out of sync and you want to double check anything. It's good to sort of keep it there and turn it off.